That's one thing that always bugs me is when people complain about, like, this character or this movie, just it wasn't like it was in the comics, and it's like, well, which comic are you talking about? Like, there's been a million different interpretations of these characters in the comics. So it just I always hate that, like, that excuse. That just topic that gets brought up is, like, the most annoying thing in the world to me, 'cause it's like, "That Batman wasn't Batman." Which Batman? Like, there's Year One, Dark Knight Returns, like, which one? Like, Long Halloween? Because none of those Batmen are the same Batman, and everybody, I'm pretty sure, loves all 3 of those stories. Like you know what I mean? And so it always that honestly always, like, Peter Griffin, that grinds my gears, right? Like, it's just like, "It's not like how it was in the comics." A lot of things aren't. A lot of comics aren't like how they were in the comic before, or the comic before, or the comic we talked about this before, like, I think it may have been last week or something where, like, it always has blown my mind when people don't like, their main argument is just that it's different from the comics and stuff, and it's like, but at the same time, these people who are claiming they're familiar with the comics just forget the fact that the comics are iterative of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, they constantly have new iterations of each character. Sometimes more than once in a single year, you'll see a different version if there's an Elseworld story or some storyline that's finishing off, and then they start a new run of someone like, it happens all the time. So it's always so weird how it's like, when these movies come out that people are spending hundreds of millions of dollars and, like, 9 times not 9 times out of 10, but more often than not anymore nowadays, they're at least good movies. Like, take the comics out of the equation, you can make an adaptation that's a one-to-one thing, and if you don't do it well, it's gonna suck no matter what. So you just have
Yeah.
to focus on making a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, the good movie bit comes first, like, that's exactly as you said, like, focus on making a good movie. If use what you can in the comics, if it's not working, change it, because not everything translates from the page to the screen. If it did, everything would. Like, we'd have, like, one-to-one interpretations in every level, but we don't because it doesn't work all the time.
To be
So,
fair, I'm probably guilty of this. I'm probably guilty of complaining about something not being like it was in the comics. And you can probably go back through some of our old clips and find me being that way. I'm sure everybody has their own personal
Netflix
touchstones.
Batman.
Yeah, well, I'd argue
Yeah,
that that
that's the
wasn't a
one.
very good movie to begin with. So I think that one,
But
especially
see,
the theatrical
that's to
cut
the
that I
point.
saw.
That's to the point, though. That is to the point. If that movie came out and Ben Affleck's Batman did exactly what he did, but whatever didn't work, flip it and make it work, no one
Mhm.
would be talking about that stuff. I think it's because it's compounded. So I think a lot of the time people are somewhat justified, but I don't think it's always considered that, like, well, overall the movie wasn't good. So focusing on one character, that's not going to make the movie good. Like, if Ben Affleck's Batman, the things you didn't like about Batman, if that was different, wouldn't have changed that movie. You know what I mean? It's that movie was still that movie. So whether or not you take out some elements of that Batman, that wasn't what made the movie bad. It was just the movie overall wasn't as good as it could have been. Maybe that influenced it, sure, but
And
overall, I think it was a minor thing.